Today we have, you have in front of you a resolution for us to basically amend and restate, actually, resolution number 17-312. The Government Operations Committee and Fiscal Policy Committee has reviewed many of the county's fiscal policies, including the reserve policy. And we did this on February 22nd, 2021. And I want to commend our central office staff, especially Mr. Gene Smith, working in collaboration with Ms. Michelson and Mr. Craig Howard for really, truly incredible analysis. And so basically what you have here are a number of updates to our current resolution. When we were facing the last recession, the council, working collaboratively with the administration of then County Executive Leggett, came together to adopt a number of fiscal policies that would then become a conduit to a much more stable and strengthened fiscal status for our county. These were policies that were coupled with a number of very difficult decisions that the council ultimately made, which included progressive furloughs, restructuring benefits, as well as rebasing the school system's budget. It was a very difficult time, but it became very clear that unless we approached the situation and made those particular changes, plus adopting a number of fiscal policies that we all committed, particular goals that we all committed to achieve, that it was going to be very difficult for the county as a whole to be in a strengthened fiscal position, and also projecting into the future, it was going to be difficult for us to perhaps even retain our AAA bond rating. May I remind all of us that our triple bond rating, it's something that we are extraordinarily proud of, because not only does it allow us to be able to save money as we are floating bonds and as we are seeking that type of credit, the reality is that it's also an examination and a thorough evaluation of our fiscal standing. And that is why it is so important. And so I would be remiss if I also do not acknowledge that the team on the executive side, especially finance, as well as OMB, and everyone has always worked together to address these issues. So here we are. None of us really expected to be here. We had indicated before the pandemic hit, this is 2019, that we were going to deliberately and in a very sort of, I guess, calm fashion, go back and reevaluate and perhaps re-examine our fiscal policies to see whether they still were appropriate, and if we needed to, did we need to tweak something? There had been some changes that had occurred also at the national level. And of course, when the pandemic hit, we kind of put that on hold, but very quickly it became clear that this pandemic was going to last more than 2 months, and that now we needed to seriously begin to consider the fiscal impact on the county, not just right now. So it's not just the short term, but midterm, long term. And part of that, very specifically, and you will see here in this update, has to do with how are we going to use our reserves. Reserves are there for emergencies. There is no doubt that that's why they are there. But how do we get to a point where we can perhaps put some criteria as to how we use, what will we use our reserves for? What about a schedule to replenish the reserves? Because this is also really important. We worked very hard to get to the 10% target. And I believe that we missed it by just a little bit. Well, here we are now. What does this mean? When we get our federal, hopefully, relief funding, what will we be using that for? How would that really leave us in terms of all these other fiscal policies? And how can we agree once again to a set of principles and a set of targets that we can then incorporate not only within our fiscal plan, but also as we go and meet with our rating agencies, be able to present to them our particular strategic approach to this really unexpected fiscal challenge. So this is what we discussed in this particular update. You will see, for example, including a provision that allows for the use of reserves during economic recessions or national emergencies. The addition of the provision does not change the county's reserve goal or council's processes during non-emergencies, but it clarifies. It includes a provision that indicates the county's goal to prioritize expenditure reductions during economic recessions and national emergencies. This provision mirrors past practice to ensure that the county focuses its efforts on responding to the emergency, including a provision that requires that the county replenish reserves within 3 years following an economic recession or national emergency. A 1 to 3 year replenishment policy is a best practice for local jurisdictions. Clarifies the use of one-time revenues by creating a clearer hierarchy for the county's fiscal policy goals and liabilities, including a reference to the county's debt policy in its review during the spending affordability process of the capital budget, includes a reference to the county's other post-employment benefit OPEB policy to make the updated resolution more comprehensive, includes a reference to the other fund balance policies that are reviewed during the operating budget. A few of the tax-supported funds were previously mentioned in the resolution, but this resolution ensures that the resolution notes all fund balances, includes the council's adopted compensation sustainability policy. This inclusion memorializes the fiscal policy memorandum sent by the council in December 2019. So as you can see, in my opinion, this is a really important decision that we are about to make. Again, it is, we all hope that we will be able to navigate through this fiscal challenge and come out on the other side strong, as we also in a parallel fashion seek to be aggressive with our economic development goals. Pretty soon we will be also addressing, a enhanced way of working on our strategic vision and framework for economic development under the umbrella of the Economic Development Platform. That is very important because it cannot just be about us understanding our fiscal situation. It has to also be in parallel fashion to our desire to grow our tax base, to create jobs, to make sure the opportunities are also part of this equation. And but at the same time, discipline is very important, especially during this uncertain and unprecedented time.